Jerry here, KO Media. We're back in the land of Ireland, back covering events and MMA events. And the first one we're going to cover is Cage Legacy here in the Pillow Hotel in Ashbourne. But we're not here to talk about MMA. Don't tell Decky. Don't tell Dollar Deck. Okay, you have a very serious Phil Campbell here, of course. Phil Campbell has a lot of records to his name. He is the most travelled Irish commentator in MMA.
That's fair, yeah.
He's been in practically the 5 continents.
I think I have, yeah.
You know, and he's not there. He's not there for fun. He's there because he's bloody good. And of course, in fairness, we must mention that where he cut his teeth was Clan Wars, correct?
100%. Yes, where I got my start. Yeah.
Yeah, and widely regarded as probably one of the most professional MMA outfits in the north of Ireland, and this is the best one in the south of Ireland.
Yep, I agree.
But anyway, but we're not here even to talk about MMA. We're here to talk about the risk that, Phil, you're going to create another record.
Hopefully. So I'm going to be making my Bare Knuckle Boxing debut. And I think, as far as I'm aware, I'm potentially going to be the first person to hold a title in mixed martial arts and hold a title in Bare Knuckle Boxing, because this is for the inaugural lightweight championship.
And this is a crossover that's happening. Do you see who copied you just the other day?
Taking my Rob MVP and Mike Perry.
Yeah, but who's heard of them? One continent at most.
Exactly. And I think it's also another interesting wrinkle. There's a number of interesting variables to this fight, because not only am I competing as a fighter, I'm also going to be commentating on the show. My opponent that I'm fighting, Jamie McCusker, we also used to be training partners. So there's a lot of interesting little wrinkles and a lot of interesting variables to this fight.
And of course, you've done this before. You've commentated and fought.
I have indeed, yeah. I did boxing on Clan Wars.
Clan Wars, and then commentated.
I don't really remember a lot of what I said, because I got rocked a wee bit by Stephen Looney, but
that was a bit of a fight, wasn't it?
It was a nice wee knock.
Was that the fight where you jumped off the plane as well? Was it?
No,
that was another one, right?
Yeah, that was a show I was commentating on. I got off a plane from Bahrain and then went straight to commentate on the show.
But this fight particularly, there is a bit of needle, which seems to be quite common for bare knuckle, isn't it?
It's more, Jamie accepted this fight before I was even aware of the fight. So whilst I had no animosity towards the young man, we were training partners, got on great with him, but it's the fact that he's accepted this fight, I take that as a little bit of a personal slight. That's almost as if him saying was, yes, I'm taking this fight, I believe that my skill set is better than yours, I believe I can beat you. I'm there to say no. I'm there to say no, I'm going to be the better fighter on the night, I'm going to go in there and get it done.
So he knew that it was you were offered to him, and he said, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, before I was even aware that the fight was a possibility. So he's confident. I respect that. He's a legitimate fighter.
He can fight a bit.
Yeah, he can fight. He's got great hands. He's a great Muay Thai guy. He spent time out in Thailand. He's got really sharp hands. But the last time we trained together was quite a few years ago. I'm a completely different entity to what I was then. I was primarily a grappler back then. I've been working diligently on my striking, and I'm very confident in my striking ability.
Yeah, and aside from anything else, with Brave, effectively you live, sleep, breathe martial arts.
Yeah, this is what I do. This is
probably 20 hours a day.
Martial arts sort of preoccupies everything that I do, from my professional life to my personal life, my hobbies. This is what I do. I live and breathe martial arts.
Yeah, and obviously you can't learn to fight out of a book, but it does give that little edge, doesn't it, to know exactly what's going on, to analyse what's going on, to analyse striking quite a lot.
Well, that's it. It comes down to nuance. There's so much nuance, not just in mixed martial arts, but particularly bare knuckle boxing. It's not a one size fits all. Just because you were maybe a good gloved athlete, doesn't mean that those skills are 100% transferable to bare knuckle. There's so many different things to think about. The frequency of your shots, the power, because you can't throw 100% in bare knuckle. You're going to break your hands, which is then going to be an impediment.
And we'll get on to that in a minute. But and again, and when you say you analyse fights, this is beside probably one of the OGs of MMA, which is of course Kerry Chiness.
Yeah,
who goes right back to UFC 1 pretty much and before.
Yeah, he's one of the founding fathers of mixed martial arts in the modern era that we're aware of. He founded the Underground Forum. Now, the Underground Forum is essentially, it's legendary. That's where guys like Eddie Alvarez got his nickname from. Eddie Alvarez, the king of the underground. That comes from the Underground Forum. So Kerry Chiness, we're working alongside him and seeing his analytical approach to fights. And
of course, we have to name check your comrade in arms, Noel O'Keefe, who's
one of the best in the business.
Who's just had his first retirement.
Yeah, hopefully. I say this somewhat selfishly, but hopefully there's still a show or two left in Noel. Yeah,
and again, of course, with the kind of some of the what would you call it, the stereotypes of martial arts, or people who just basically know how to hit people. I mean, Noel, I won't mention his company, but Noel is actually flying up the ladder professionally, and he's I think, a further senior management position, so we won't say who it is, it wouldn't embarrass him, but it's not just about hitting people. It's about, there's brains in this, and you got the brains as is Currick, and people like it out in Brave.
I think gone are the days where there was that misconception that people who fight in a cage or in a ring are kind of knuckle dragging Neanderthals. In order to do what we do, I think Joe Rogan called what we do kinetic chess with dire physical consequences, or physical chess with dire physical consequences, which is true.
And again, like to kind of reference Brave a bit again, I mean, everybody fights in Brave. I mean, Currick is probably, we give him a pass, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the Sheikh fights.
Yeah, well, he's had MMA fights, he's had boxing fights. Carlos Kramer's a BJJ purple belt. Dick Larkin, who's head of regulatory affairs, one of the best referees in the business, he's a retired professional fighter. So I think in order to truly understand the sport, you need to have been ingratiated in some way.
And of course, the boss man Mohammed Shahid is, of course, the Hawk Shahid, a fighter again.
Exactly, a retired professional fighter. So the Brave, as we often say, is an organisation for fighters by fighters, so who truly are able to empathise with what a fighter goes through. Anyway,
I want to go back. I said I would go back to Bare Knuckle, and of course, the image is that it's worse than boxing, but it's actually, I won't say it's better, it's easier, but I mean, there's less force.
Exactly, because you need to be a lot more strategic and selective with your shots. Primarily, the institution of gloves in boxing was so that fighters could hit harder whilst protecting their hands. So again, you need to be so much more strategic with your shot selection when it comes to bare knuckle, and whilst aesthetically it may not be as socially accepted as glove boxing, again, that's just the aesthetic without people truly understanding what's going on.
And again, I mean, we know that this show in Dublin, it'll be on pay-per-view, it'll be on your socials, etc.
100%,
the venue isn't known yet, and there's perhaps a slight reason for that, because there's a lot of prejudice against it, and this will be the first bare knuckle event, licensed bare knuckle event, I might say, as well. And I mean, you're looking forward to it clearly, but with your profession, I mean, you're kind of one of the faces of Brave. There's many faces, but like, your image is important. Your voice is one of the best known in martial arts, because it's the top 2 or 3, 4 in the world, and it's in every continent. But I mean, are you not concerned that you look? How long do you have after the bare knuckle fight to appear in Brave again?
Jerry, I have never got by on my looks in my life.
You have.
So that's something that I don't need to worry about. And if anything, if I'm a little bit marked up, I'm a little bit marked up. It's almost inevitable that I'm going in there, I'm going to hit the guy, the guy's going in there to hit me. It's inevitable that we're going to get marked up a little bit. But if anything, that might add a little bit of credence to what we do. I was going to say, again, like referencing Brave again, that I mean, this would be something that will be applauded. There won't be anyone saying, oh no, you need to look well on air. No, you're a fighter. It's a fighter's promotion. And this will look, if you come up with black eyes or whatever you have in yourself and stitches, that will say, good man, Phil. And again, it could add in the eyes of some people, it could add another layer of legitimacy to what I do, because a lot of the time, like, I listen to commentators that perhaps haven't fought, and with the greatest of respect in the world to their analytical breakdowns, it's very difficult if you haven't been in those positions. Plus, and it's very difficult to be critical of a fighter if you haven't been in there yourself and been in those situations. So again, it's potentially another layer of legitimacy to what we do.
And of course, if you take the L, you would be afraid to go back to Bahrain with all the slagging.
Not even in my thought processes, Jerry.
So anyway, and the fight itself, like, it's going to be. Is it going to be? I've seen bare knuckle in the UK, and it's pretty good. It's very exciting. Are you going to have a smaller ring here? It's a smaller ring.
Yeah, it's a smaller ring, which lends itself to more action.
Yeah, and it's still two minute rounds.
Yes, 5 2-minute rounds for the inaugural lightweight championship.
And again, it's all action very much.
Right from the get-go.
And it's basically, because it's I won't say a grudge, it kind of is a grudge match. So, like, there'll be no holding back here.
No, none. I won't be standing on ceremony or reputation. I'm going in there to get it done, get them done early, get back into my commentary seat and enjoy the rest of the show.
That's fantastic. So how is it? And how's training going? Are you doing a full camp now for this?
Yeah, well, I feel like this fight has been in the offing for almost about a year. So I feel like I've been in camp for that amount of time. I've got some great guys that I'm training with, the likes of Henry Corrigan, Maciej Krzyzewski, Adam Gustab. Really, really, really good high-level guys that I'm getting good work in with. Yeah,
and actually, I wanted to comment on that again. It's like I seem to be going back to Brave with every set. Hi, Mohammed, I want to go back. But but I noticed actually that, like, you were open. Well, I mean, why shouldn't you? But like Maciek is your Magic Man, is your clubmate,
Yeah,
your
teammate,
your
teammate, friend, yeah.
But
Great training partner.
nobody bothered about you like helping him to train or helping him to prepare at the event, the last brave event he was at.
Unfortunately, due to the last event we were at was in South Korea, so not only do you need to be double vaccinated, you had to be boosted as well.
Yeah.
There weren't any guys in our gym that were triple vaccinated. So when we got out there, I was the one that was keeping him warm, keeping him going. I actually took time out of the commentary booth to actually corner him in that fight, and it was.
I didn't know that backstory.
Yeah. It was a very unique, and interesting experience.
Right, but again, I would assume that nobody batted an eyelid in a way. You know, I mean, you're not a judge, you're not a ref, so it's okay.
Exactly. You know, there's I pride myself in not having any biases. When I'm full disclosure, I let people know Magic's my teammate. But when I'm being analytical of a fight, I will say when he's doing something well, I'll say when he's doing something not so well. So it's trying to be as impartial as I can.
And again, I mean, that actually goes back to, I mean, basically everything starts in Clan Wars, is it? And I suspect, I think you're basically a contemporary of Noel, but I mean, this full analytics before a fight, I mean, that's what makes your commentary good. Not just like, who's your man from? That's a good gym.
Well, again,
they're a grappling gym, so we talk about his grappling.
Exactly. There's a little bit of a misconception still within perhaps the people who aren't as ingratiated to the sport as the likes of ourselves. People just assume that a commentator turns up and talks. You know, the show day is the majority of my work is already done. The real hard work is done the weeks before the fight, where you're contacting every fighter, you're watching as much footage as you can on the individuals. But when you turn up on the day, your work's already done, and that informs the commentary. And I suppose the more effortless commentary looks is probably an indicator of the more hard work that's going on.
In fact, I'll make full disclosure now as well. I was, as usual, totally disorganised, so I didn't really prepare for this. I said, Phil, you can do the thing. But when I rang you first or messaged you, I said, look, will we do it after the show? Because, of course, you'll be preparing before the show. I mean, this is only less than an hour to the first fight. And you said, no, you're grand, Jerry. My preparation is done.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. So the work is, as I say, the work is done. The hours of research, the breaking down tape, the analytical approach, that's all done before I've left the house to come to the venue.
And again, guys, I was going to say click into the pay-per-view, but of course I won't get this edited for a day.
Click into the pay-per-view for the Bare Knuckle.
Oh yeah, click in for the pay-per-view for the Bare Knuckle, of course. I was going to say as well. So it'll be on. I said it'll be on your socials.
Yeah. The links on.
I think
my socials,
there won't be any live audience.
No, there is. Yeah. So it's, there's a ticket link on my bio.
There's a small live audience. But mostly pay-per-view is what you're pushing. And go on to Phil Campbell's socials. You'll see it there. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be there, of course.
Looking forward to it, Jay. It's great to see you back at shows as well, Jay.
Yeah, well, first MMA show back in Ireland. And listen, Phil, and to meet the first interview, one of the big OGs in martial arts.
An absolute pleasure, Jay.
And now Bare Knuckle Boxing, making history, the first belt in Ireland in a licensed Bare Knuckle Boxing fight. Look out for it.